Hello and welcome to the inaugural episode of Salary Voodoo with Monk. I am Monk, aka the Monkmatician, and I'm very excited to be here on the MMA Engine YouTube channel. That feels amazing to say. Thank you very much for subscribing. Be sure to hit that like in the video and check out all kinds of content, UFC, DFS related stuff that we have coming to you in the next few weeks. I want to welcome you to the first episode of Salary Voodoo. Now, what is Salary Voodoo? Well, what we're going to be talking about on this show, which should be about 15-20 minutes, depending on how short I can keep this intro. Salary Voodoo is a different way of looking at how to build lineups for MMA DFS, whether it's DraftKings or FanDuel. I mostly focus on DraftKings, but it's a different way to look at building lineups for that. So imagine if you take out if you didn't know any of the fighters who were fighting, you just had their salaries, you had their fight order, and you had their weight class. That's all you knew. So I take that data and I spin it, and it gives me sort of leverage type plays on different salaries. You know, with actually like 30 to 31 salaries, I think we're at. Not all of them are going to be good. Some will be inherently poor compared to the rest of the field. For instance, the $8,800 salary, which we will talk about here, that is an inherently poor salary. It does not score well. It makes the optimal lineup less than almost every other salary. And why is that? I mean, it's a random number. It's 8,800. Why isn't 8,900 the bad salary? Why isn't 8,700 the bad salary? Well, I think it has to do with how it just depends on how the fighters score on average and their total points that they get. So my point is, you're not going to get the top 6 highest scoring fighters in the optimal lineup every single week. Sure, that could happen occasionally, but usually there's a couple guys that get left out, like Ramiz Brahimaj last week. Who else? Ignacio Bahamondes got left off of the optimal lineup, even though their scores were higher than like Priscilla Cachoeira, and I forget whoever else made that card. So I'm trying to take some of this information and mix it with, you know, my model. I hate using that word, but my database, the data that I have, putting them all together to create a better optimal lineup, you know, to build before I go into the event. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. The basis of this show is going to be, I have my 3 wonderful colleagues, Weezy, Lou Betya, and Brady from DFS By The Numbers. They gave me 3 fights to look at this week as far as Salary Voodoo. Maybe in the future I'll have a Twitter poll or something, or I'll check it out in the comments, see what fights you guys want me to break down as far as Salary Voodoo. But I just kind of want to bring a different look and a different thought process, really, to how we build lineups in DFS, instead of just I think he's going to win, so I'm going to put him in here, and I think this is a bit different. So bear with me, and we'll see if this pays off. So we'll start with Mr. Lou Betya, at Lou Betya on Twitter, my partner in crime, my I can't think of the word, but my intrepid co-host. There we go. My intrepid co-host of the Monk and Lou Happy Hour, which you can find on YouTube on actually the MMA Engine channel, Friday nights at 5 p.m. Central Time. So at Lou Betya, Mr. Lou gave me Maria Agapova against Marina Moroz. Now, Agapova's $8,800 salary, Moroz $7,400 salary. Agapova scores very well per minute and per win. Moroz is the exact opposite, very low scorer. So we're not surprised by the salaries there. The $8,800 salary. Actually, let's break into the weight class. Women's flyweight, surprisingly good. Made the optimal lineup 25. The women's flyweight, there's been 44 fights. I should preface this. Sorry, I keep interrupting myself. There's been 44 fights since January 1st, 2021. All data that you hear me talk about is good up until, you know, going as far back as January 1st, 2021. Before that, DraftKings had different scoring, and even a little bit before that, they had like 5-figure salaries. It's all over the place. So this is consistent data for the past 14 months or so. So Agapova, or the women's flyweight fights, have been used 44 times since then, have made the optimal lineup 25 times. That is a 56.82%. That is the best rate out of any weight class. So it doesn't have the high volume or high usage like, say, a middleweight does, or, you know, a lightweight with like 70 some fights. But 25 out of 44 is not terrible. The fifth fight of the night, which this one currently is slated to be, 21 out of 49 times someone from the fifth fight of the night has made the optimal lineup. That is only a 42.86% rate. That is the second worst rate out of all fights. So fifth fight of the night, generally not a good one to target. Now we'll get into the salaries. $8,800. Here's why it is one of the worst salary, and I do mean that it's the second worst behind $6,700. It's been used 44 times since January 1st, 2021, and it's only made the optimal lineup 7 of those 44 times. That is a 15.91 percentage. Like I said, the second worst, other than the $6,700 salary, which has like a 5% rate. It does have a fantastic win rate, the $8,800 salary, 72.73%, 32 wins out of 44 fights. So it's a fantastic win rate. It just does not make the optimal lineup for whatever reason. Percent of optimal lineup in wins. So how many times has the $8,800 salary won and then made the optimal lineup? 21.88%. That is the worst percentage between 9,500 and 6,700. The absolute worst percentage. Average DraftKings points in a win for that salary is 87.97. That is the second lowest out of all salaries. Average win value is 10 even. That is the worst out of all salaries. So guys, who knows why this is, but it is how it is. $8,800 is an awful, awful salary. Kyle Daukaus just won with it a couple weeks ago in the co-main event against Jamie Pickett. So before that, these numbers were even worse. And since he won recently, I doubt, how often is that going to make the optimal lineup? 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a row, that's not going to happen. That would be an anomaly. So 7,400, how's that one? Has to be better, right? It's made the optimal lineup 8 out of 44 times, 18%. Win percentage only 27.27%, 12 wins out of 44 uses. I mean, it is a very big underdog salary, so what do you expect? Percent, when it does win, how many times does it make the optimal? 50%. So let's see. 6 times, so 8 times it's made the optimal. 2 of those have been in losses, though, so it kind of messes with the stats. But yeah, 2 times the $7,400 salary has made the optimal lineup when the fighter has lost. Average DraftKings points per win for the 7,400, 89.9. That is the third worst, only just barely above the $8,800 salary. Average win value 12.15. The salary pair of 8,800 and 7,400 when they are together, 34.09%. Optimal lineup in wins. That is the worst percentage out of all salary pairs. Actually, it's tied for worst, but it is the worst out of all salary pairs here. So, Lou, I love Maria Agapova here. I like this fight. I want to see this fight in general. I like the fight. But as far as anyone making the optimal lineup for your 8,800 versus 7,400, the Salary Voodoo says this fight is hexed. Hexed. I will probably play Maria Agapova in some lineups, but I will be keeping her exposure low because of this Salary Voodoo right here. I know the $8,800 is a terrible salary. Does that mean she definitely won't make the optimal lineup? No, but you have to play probabilities with this game. I'm trying to find edges everywhere, so any more information, I need as much information as I can get to play the odds. So that is what I am doing here. All right, next fight, since we've already been going, for 8 minutes, that's not bad. I'll finish this up in the next 10 or so. Let's see, Brady at DFS By The Numbers. Give him a follow. I'm sure you already are. I don't have to tell you to give him a follow. Give my guy at Lou Betya a follow, however. And be sure to hit the like and subscribe on this video. MMA Engine, let's get it. Brady picked Jalen Turner going against Jamie Mullarkey. Now, another fight that I am pretty excited for. This one should finish. Jalen Turner coming in $8,200. Jamie Mullarkey, $8,000. This is a lightweight fight. Now, the lightweight, there have been 72 fights at lightweight since I've been tracking this. 35 times lightweights have made the optimal lineup. That is 48.61%, fifth worst. So not a great weight class to make the optimal. 8th fight of the night. Now, this is a pretty good one. 49 times there's been 8 fights since 2021. At least 8 fights, I should say. 25 times the 8th fight. Someone from the 8th fight has made the optimal. That is a 51.02%. So you're over 50% there. Much better than the previous fight we talked about, the 5th fight at 42. So 51% for the 8th fight. $8,200. Where are we at here, Jamal Turner? It has made been used 41 times and has made the optimal lineup 9 times. That is a 21.95% rate. It has a very low win rate for a favorite salary, 43.9%. That is very interesting. My man at Betya actually posits that it could be because those are the two closest DraftKings salaries, that are going against each other. The lines could easily be flipping after, a few times during the week. So that is a good observation there. That is a good explanation as to why it only has a 43.9% win rate, 18 wins out of 41 fights. It does make the optimal lineup in 50% of its wins, though, so that is pretty good. Average DraftKings points per win for the $8,200 salary, 94.45, so almost 7 points higher than the previous salaries. An average win value average win value 11.52. So a decent, you want that 21.9% optimal rate a little bit higher, but 50% in wins is pretty good. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that. The $8,000 salary. Now, these should be relatively close, right? They're the two closest salaries on the card. Let's find out. It's been used 42 times, so one more time than the 8,200. It's made the optimal lineup 12 times instead of 9 compared to 82. That is a 28.57% of optimal lineup. It wins 22 wins out of 42 fights. That is a 52.38% win rate. And when it does win, the $8,000 salary makes the optimal lineup 54.55% of the time. Guys, that is 10 and a half will be accurate. 10.5% points higher than the $8,200 salary when it wins. And it has a higher win percentage than the $8,200 salary as well. So that tells me this is a great dog salary from a probability aspect. The $8,000 salary is better than the $8,200 salary to play. 54.55% optimal in wins. DraftKings points per win, 93.28 and 11.66 average value. The salary pair of 8,200 and 8,000 make the optimal lineup when they win 52.5% of the time. Now, guys, that is 16 points higher, actually plus 18 points higher than the 88 and 74 salary pair. So do you kind of see what I'm saying? I'm trying to break this down a little bit. Obviously, the 82 and 8,000 makes the optimal lineup more than the 88 and 74. So that is a better salary pair to play. It averages more points than the 88 and 74. I mean, that's why I tend to stay away from the 8,800 and, those salary pairs a little bit more often. Obviously, it depends on who the fighter is. You cannot just do this. If you try to just use this information, maybe you'll have a good couple of lineups, but it really, really limits you when you start crunching or building lineups with just these numbers without any fight stats. So pair it with your fight stats and you start to see patterns like this, and you'll start to see salaries that you like playing more often. Next, actually, I didn't even make a ruling on that. Brady Turner versus Mullarkey, 8,200 versus 8,000. Your salary voodoo is blessed. I like it. I'm going to call blessed or hexed because this is the first time. I don't have a plan. It's my show. I can say whatever I want. So heck it. Heck it, guys. I can say what I want. So yeah, that fight, I'm going to go with blessed. I do like that salary pair. I like both salaries, and I like both guys. Both guys in this fight average over 118 DraftKings points per win. So combine that information with the salary voodoo I just gave you, especially the $8,000 salary. I mean, you should be rostering these guys in a percentage of your lineups. Now, the last and final fight of the week. Where are we at here? Way down here. Uncle Weezy. Shout out Uncle Weezy. Give him a follow. I'm sure you already are at MMA Weezy. Follow him on YouTube and check us out again on MMA Engine. Guys, like and subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of stuff coming down the pipe in the very near future. I'm talking like next week or 2 weeks, okay? At Betya is giving us constant updates like fucking CNN, but without the fake news. You got it? It is exciting. Uncle Weezy, your fight that you picked, Edson Barboza going against Bryce Mitchell. Featherweight fight. How does the featherweight weight class do? It has been used 66 times since 1/1/21. It's made the optimal lineup 34 times, guys. That is a 51.52 percentage rate. The best so far that we've talked about. Not the best overall, but the best that we've talked about so far, lightweight. What's up, buddy? 11th fight of the night. How does that usually do? We've had 11 fights at least, or 36 times since 1/1/21. It's made the lineup 18 times, 50%, the 11th fight. So not great, but not terrible either. Let's get into the salaries. How is the $8,300 salary? Well, it's been used 46 times. It's made the optimal lineup 11 out of those 46 times. That is a 23.91%, the second best percentage rate that we've talked about so far today. Percentage of wins, how does it do? 50%. It has 23 wins out of 46 uses, and in those wins, it makes the optimal 47.83% of the time. So not a great number there, less than 50% for a favorite salary, because as you know, that 8,300, this is so dumb to say out loud, but the higher the salary, your fighter is a favorite, you know what I'm saying, theoretically. So 7,900 is a dog salary, 8,300 is a favorite salary. So the favorite salary only makes the optimal 47.83% of the time and only wins at a coin flip 50%. Average DraftKings points per win 92.17, so lower than both 82 and 8,000 there. An average winning value 11.11, a very low average as well. 7,900. Let's see if these numbers are better. Is the favorite salary going to end up being better, or the dog salary? I'm sure you can already guess with the numbers I've given you. Featherweight we already talked about. Let's see. 7,900 has been used 46 times, just like 8,300. It has made the optimal lineup 4 more times than the $8,300 salary. It's made the optimal 15 out of 46 uses. That is a 32.61%, a fantastic percentage. The highest that we've talked about so far. It also wins at exactly a 50% clip, 23 wins, just like its favorite counterpart, 8,300. So you don't get any extra wins out of 83 just because it's more. When 7,900 does win, it makes the optimal in 60.87% of the time. Guys, that is a huge number, one of the biggest on the entire slate, or out of all salaries, I should say. 60% of the time, almost 61% of the time, when the $7,900 salary wins their fight at a 50% rate, they make the optimal lineup, guys. Those are fantastic percentages, the best percentages we've talked about all day. Average DraftKings points in wins, highest we've talked about all show as well, actually second highest technically, 94.16. Average winning value 11.92, almost 12. Fantastic numbers for the $7,900 salary. I have to favor that salary more. It's been used the exact same as 83. It has the same winning percent, but makes the optimal lineup in wins 14 points higher than the $8,300 salary. So this is kind of the stuff that I'm getting into with Salary Voodoo. I know some of you are with me, some of you probably aren't, but hey, stick with me and we will figure this shit out together. I'm telling you. Last thing, the $8,300 and $7,900 salary pair, the winner makes the optimal lineup 56.52% of the time. That is the 5th best rate out of all of the salary pairs, of which there's, I think, 15 that I'm tracking, 15 or 16. I don't remember off the top of my head, but 5th best. So top 33% is fantastic. Guys, you should also be targeting this. I don't know about this week. That's the thing. You have to pair these with stats. Edson Barboza only scores 78 points in a win. Bryce Mitchell only scores 84 points in a win. So now that you have two sides of this equation, you can make a better informed decision. As far as your fight, Uncle Weezy, Salary Voodoo says this fight is blessed. A blessed fight. I love the Salary Voodoo here, especially for 7,900. But this week, I'm not a huge fan, just because of what I just said, the DraftKings points per win for both of these guys and how poorly they generally score. But, Salary Voodoo is Salary Voodoo. If you choose to ignore Salary Voodoo, bad things could happen. I'm not saying they will happen, but they certainly could. Guys, that is gonna do it. So now you get a general idea of what I'm talking about and what I'm looking at when I'm dealing with Salary Voodoo. I take all of this into account: the weight class, the fight order, every piece of information I can get my hands on, I want. Why would you ignore or just leave information out on the table when you're spending your hard-earned money, putting down bets, putting down money in DraftKings for lineups or FanDuel, stuff like that. Sorry you can hear my dog's chain, but I assure you he's having fun playing with his tennis ball. Anyways, why would you leave information and knowledge like that on the table? So I am here to bring it to you. We will be doing a few fights every week. We'll have to figure out the exact format, if my colleagues are going to be picking the fights, or if Twitter or YouTube comments are going to be picking. In fact, be sure to leave a comment for next week's show. Leave a comment. Who do you want to see me talk about next week? We don't even know the salaries. That is the fun part. So drop a fight in the comments. Text me. I'm such a fucking old man. Hit me up on Twitter at Monkmatix, Monkmatix. Hit me up and tell me what you want to see Salary Voodoo next week. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe. I say it 4 times, but you're supposed to say it. Follow me on my own YouTube channel, Monkmatix. I put out a game theory video every Tuesday where I break down every single fight from a DraftKings perspective, statistic-wise. Find me on the Pub Sports Radio Show, which came out last night. Wednesday, DraftKings show with at MMA Weezy, at DFS Numbers, and at SWR Betting, where we give you all kinds of DraftKings picks, lineups, etc. And find me Friday nights, 5 o'clock, Monk and Lou's Happy Hour right here on MMA Engine. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate that, and I will get out of here. As always, I want all of you to enjoy the fights, so enjoy.